The UK government has just announced major cuts to 4 key benefits, and these changes could have a huge impact on your payments. If you rely on universal credit, PIP, ESA, or housing benefit, you'll want to pay close attention to what's coming. The Department for Work and Pensions, DWP, is rolling out a series of reforms aimed at cutting welfare spending, but not without significant consequences for millions of people. You could be facing more frequent assessments, stricter criteria, and even lower payments. Universal credit claimants, for instance, are set to experience tougher work capability assessments, meaning you might be asked to work more hours or even take on a job despite health conditions. This could be a major blow for many who are already struggling. Meanwhile, people receiving PIP could see their rates reassessed as the government reviews how different conditions are scored. For those on ESA, the DWP is shifting toward a more holistic approach, focusing on what you can do rather than what you can't, meaning stricter guidelines that could reduce your payments. And let's not forget housing benefit. If you're still on the old system, there's a chance your housing support could be slashed as the government moves everyone to universal credit. With these cuts on the horizon, it's essential to know how these changes could affect you, and more importantly, what steps you can take to protect yourself. You don't have to be caught off guard. From keeping your paperwork updated to challenging decisions you don't agree with, there are ways to stay on top of the changes. In this video, I'll walk you through what you need to know and how you can make sure you're still getting the support you deserve. Don't miss out, watch until the end for tips that could help you keep your benefits intact during this challenging time. Now that we've laid the groundwork, let's dive into the changes and what they mean for you. The DWP's reforms are about to shake things up, and while there's a lot of buzz, it's important to get a clear picture of what's really at stake. You might have already heard about these cuts from the news, or maybe you've seen a few headlines, but now it's time to look at the details and understand how these changes could affect your payments. If you're someone who relies on universal credit, PIP, ESA, or housing benefit, you're probably wondering, how will this impact me? Will I get less money? How will these changes affect my daily life? These are tough questions, and the truth is, nobody really has all the answers yet. The DWP plans to roll out these reforms gradually over the next 18 to 24 months, so there's still some time to prepare. But don't wait until the last minute to get ready. The sooner you understand what's coming, the better you can protect yourself from potential disruptions to your benefits. Let's begin with universal credit, the one that's getting the most attention. Universal credit has already been through its fair share of changes over the years, and now it's facing even stricter work capability assessments. If you're receiving universal credit, you might already be used to the idea of assessments to see what work you're capable of doing. But now, the DWP is stepping it up. Expect more frequent assessments, and in some cases, they may ask you to either increase the hours you're working or even find a job altogether, regardless of any health issues you might have. If you're someone who has struggled to find work because of a health condition or disability, this could feel like a huge mountain to climb. Imagine Sarah, for example. She's been receiving universal credit while managing a chronic health condition. Life has been tough, but she's been able to get by. Lately, however, she's been called in for more frequent work capability assessments, and each time, there's more pressure on her to show that she's trying hard enough to get back into the workforce. These assessments are set to become even more frequent, which means more stress for people already struggling to balance their health and their need to find work. This shift in policy could hit a lot of people who aren't able to work full-time or even part-time because of serious health conditions. It's not just about being able to find a job, it's about finding a job that accommodates your specific health needs. For people like Sarah, or anyone else facing chronic conditions, this change feels like an extra burden they just don't need. And if that wasn't enough, the government is also tightening the rules around personal independence payment, PIP. This is another major area where cuts are being made, and it's crucial to stay informed about how this could affect you. If you've been receiving PIP, you may already know that it's based on your specific health needs and the challenges you face in daily life. But now, the government is reviewing the criteria they use to assess PIP, and this could result in some claimants receiving lower rates, or even losing their entitlement entirely. For people with mental health conditions, fluctuating illnesses, or multiple health problems, these changes could hit hardest. Imagine someone with bipolar disorder or epilepsy, whose condition can change from day to day. One day they might be perfectly fine, and the next, they are struggling to get out of bed. Under the new criteria, these variations could be harder to demonstrate. And if you are someone with more than one condition, you might find that the way they are scored doesn't fully reflect the challenges you face. The government says that the goal of these changes is to make the system fairer by ensuring that people who need more support get it, while those who might be able to work and support themselves are encouraged to do so. But that's not always the reality for everyone. Take John, for instance. He's been receiving PIP for a while now and recently had his payments reduced after going through a reassessment. John wasn't alone in this. Many people have found themselves facing reductions in their support because of these new changes. If you're currently receiving PIP, make sure you're aware of these changes and keep all your medical evidence up to date. The more you can document about how your condition impacts your daily life, the better. Now, let's talk about Employment and Support Allowance, ESA. ESA has been around for quite some time, and for many, it's been a lifeline, especially for people who are unable to work due to long-term illness or disability. The government is now pushing for a more holistic approach to the work capability assessments, meaning they'll focus more on what you can do rather than what you can't do. On paper, this sounds like a good idea, but the reality is that it could mean stricter criteria for some claimants. ESA has always been about supporting people who genuinely can't work. But with this new approach, the DWP may start asking more questions about the kinds of work you could do, even if it's part-time, flexible, or less physically demanding. This could be a tough pill to swallow for people with severe disabilities or chronic illnesses. Many ESA claimants already struggle to make ends meet, and now they may have to prove they are actively looking for work, even if they are physically incapable of taking on a full-time job. The pressure to comply with these new rules could be overwhelming for many people who have already been through so much. Another significant change is in housing benefit. If you're still on the old system, rather than universal credit, this one could hit you hard. The government is fast-tracking the process of moving claimants onto universal credit, and this could mean a reduction in the amount of housing support you're entitled to. The goal is to make everything more streamlined, but for people who are already on a fixed income, even small reductions in housing support can make a big difference. If you're still on housing benefit, now is the time to prepare for the transition to universal credit, especially if you're facing financial challenges. It's important to check your eligibility for additional support and make sure everything is in order before the changes take place. The good news is that these changes won't happen overnight. The DWP is rolling them out gradually, giving you time to prepare. However, the clock is ticking, and it's important that you stay proactive during this process. Start by making sure all your paperwork is up to date. This means having medical records, proof of your current circumstances, and any other documentation that supports your claims. If your situation changes, whether it's your health, your employment status, or your housing situation, be sure to report it immediately to avoid any issues down the line. It's not just about paperwork, though. Staying informed is key. The DWP will be sending out important communications over the next couple of years, so don't ignore any letters or emails from them. Even if it feels like you're already juggling a million things, taking the time to read through their communications could save you a lot of stress down the road. If you're unsure about any of the information you receive, reach out for advice. Whether it's from a charity, an online forum, or a professional who specializes in benefits, getting guidance can help you navigate the changes and ensure you're not left in the dark. And finally, one of the most important things to keep in mind is that you're not alone. If you're worried about how these changes may affect your benefits, remember that there are resources available to help. There are charities and organizations that specialize in benefits advice and support, and they can offer practical advice on how to protect your entitlements. Mental health can take a hit when facing changes like this, so don't hesitate to reach out for emotional support as well. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed by all these changes, but just know that help is out there, and you don't have to go through it alone. As we wrap up this video, remember that while these changes are daunting, you have the power to protect yourself. Stay informed, stay organized, and keep fighting for what you're entitled to. With the right knowledge and preparation, you can navigate these changes and continue to receive the support you need. Thanks for watching, and I'll continue to monitor these developments and keep you updated. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join the conversation in the comments below. Let's support each other through these challenging times.